Hey, sister.
Hey, sister.
Join me, Courtney Lewis,
And me, Carly Ferguson.
in our conversational podcast about everyday situations.
You can count on us to tell it to you straight with our own sisterly spin.
Consider this a phone call with your own Southern sisters as we discuss with you personal accountability, healthy relationships, managing responsibilities, and contributing to society.
Each episode will consist of straight talk and a call to action.
Your sisters are calling.
Thanks for answering.
Welcome to Hey Sister. This is episode 2, Hit It.
Do you remember that thing Grandma Goody used to say when she would try to get up? She was like in her 90s. She'd always rev herself up and she'd count down 1, 2, 3, up.
I remember it well.
I feel like that sometimes where I'm doing something and I don't have the same excuse of age. I need some motivation. I need that fire under me. This first episode derives from that feeling to push past whatever excuses are coming through our minds or maybe laziness to get ourselves to get going, get moving, to do the thing we've been wanting to. It draws back from our childhood, our life. We as a family love to water ski, and there's this beautiful lake on our family-owned property outside of where we live, a couple hours. We were able to enjoy, and we still enjoy, this beautiful, serene land that my grandpa had bought for his descendants. And on it is this really small lake. It's perfect to learn to ski on.
I'm going to interrupt you there. I think this is a great description. It is so beautiful to me, but I just don't want to paint it as this beautiful picture because it is
Serene. Okay. So
muddy,
let's
brown, gorgeous, perfect lake for us. It's perfect for our standards.
Well, it's perfect to learn to ski on, but you can't
is.
stay stagnant too long because you might get leeches in your toes,
Oh
so
gosh! Oh my
maybe
gosh!
is that a better
Or a water moccasin? You remember that time the water moccasin crawled up on the jet ski with Dad?
Oh yeah.
That's about how serene this property is. So it's perfect for our standards and for our level of expertise at skiing, but we do love skiing.
Maybe less serene and more exciting. You get out in the lake, and when you're little and you're just popping up on two skis, it gets a little too easy. So you kind of have to level up. And the way we level up is by learning to slalom. For those that don't know, slalom skiing is when you ski with one ski and you put your feet in tandem and you get up with the rope. And we use a jet ski because it's a small enough lake. So you get in the water and everyone else is telling you how easy it is or how they did it. So you're there sitting, bobbing around in the water. I always try to tune into what I'm doing, but you can hear on the shore, kind of ironically, oldies music playing. Another one bites the dust or something. You're gripping the rope. And
Eye of the Tiger.
Right? The soundtrack of our childhood. You've got the ski in front of you and you just try to keep it straight up and down is kind of your goal at the beginning. You're crouched up in a ball as tight as you can with your feet under you. You're just breathing in and out. And you could probably stay there
as the jet ski idles waiting.
Yeah, idles waiting for you to make the call. And the way you make the call is by calling out, hit it. You don't say go or now or something like that.
I'm ready.
Yeah, like something that could be misconstrued. It's hit it. It has such force that comes with it. Most of the time when I would say it, you have to have the enthusiasm and the drive behind it. But it wasn't as if I was perfectly steady already. I was still bobbing in the water. Like you're kind of getting pulled along and you're just trying to keep yourself straight. But then you just realize that what you need the most at that moment is a little bit more pull. You need the jet ski to help get you up. You call out, hit it, driver takes off, and that's when you have to pull back with your hands, standing up as the jet ski takes off. Hopefully you get up. Most of the time, though, in the beginning,
you fly over the top of that ski.
Right. There's so many things that you learn from how you fall. So like if you're getting up and you fall backwards, the person driving jet ski knows that they're probably going to need to
gun it
a little bit faster the next time around. If you're going over the top of the ski, you need to pull back further. If you're going side to side, you need to stabilize. There's so many things that you learn.
So many variables.
Most of the time, I felt like I was just learning from the falls in order to remember what I could so that when I finally got up, I was up.
So Carly, let's say you've just said hit it and you get up.
Oh, I get it. Oh gosh, you just feel so much better. Once you finally get up, you're so happy you don't have to fall anymore. That's your like one goal. You're like, oh, I'm up. We're staying up. And then you just hear from the sidelines, you hear everybody just cheering you on, and mom's whistle is like piercing, just comes right at you. You feel so on top of the world. You're on top of the water.
You're flying.
You're gliding along. You're like, okay. And then it's just a battle of your grip strength and your arms and making sure you don't let go.
Once you get up, it's kind of that enjoyment factor of that perfectly muddy, serene lake. But getting up is hard when you have to say hit it and commit and pull back on that rope. And then that failure factor comes into play if you drop the rope or something happens. And then do you remember those laps when the driver of the jet ski, who's usually dad in our case, would loop around and you'd have that short little window of time where you'd say, I know what I got to do.
Yeah, this time around, I'm going to do it. And for me, I'm such a spaz. It's hard almost because I want to just get on to the next one, and just try again, and I'll flail and flop. But in one of those times, it'll come to me. You just got to believe that it will come in the next try. And you got to give it just as much of your all each time around.
Saying hit it though, I want to speak to that. Just saying the words hit it. How many times are you like, hit it?
Oh, you can hear the doubt from a mile away.
And you're like, they're not going to make it.
Hit it?
Is there a question mark?
Yeah. Nope. So water skiing, it's not everybody's cup of tea, right? But the takeaways from this, that we want everyone to be able to feel that sense of urgency, to move, to go into something that maybe before was daunting. Don't let that potential fall stop you from getting up. Go in with the hit it attitude. Maybe say it to yourself. It's something that can call you to action. Sometimes when we're there in the water, we need to remember the people on the sideline calling out to us that are sharing their words of wisdom. It's important to listen to them and know their cheers and everything. They want you to succeed. They might be the peanut gallery there, but they want you to do well. Listen to them. Maybe they have some wisdom to share with you.
Right. It's so funny. I love the shoreline. I like being on the shoreline better than I like listening to the shoreline, but it's important to learn how to be in both positions. The person who says hit it, who has somebody on the shoreline telling you knees to your chest, straighten your legs, pull back. It's a tug of war with the jet ski. Like all those phrases that we grew up hearing, those are all awesome and true, but not every phrase that's said on the shoreline is exactly what you need in that moment. So you have to kind of weed out what works for you or the visualization that helps you. But it is fun to be on the shoreline too, because you don't know if what you say might be the thing that helps that person in the water. So it's kind of fun to be on both ends.
To that point, just trust that your muscles are learning and you'll remember for the next time. We're just getting better for trying. We can trust ourselves to do better in the next go. Sometimes we don't give ourselves enough trust that even though we did something and it wasn't perfect, somehow that automatically makes it not useful in our life. We put on a party or we hosted something and we didn't feel like it was a standing ovation of how people responded. And that doesn't mean we didn't learn so much from that experience. Look back and say, I'm so glad I put that party together and remembered for the next time, oh, I should have napkins or something, whatever. But when we're in the water and we're getting up, just think to yourself, this time will be better because I have come from something that I learned from. Our bodies can learn, we can adapt and grow. It's important to take into consideration what others are saying, but also remember that you have within you so much that you've learned in your life. And this next time, with whatever it is, a success, a failure, you're going to learn from that too. This is so applicable in our day-to-day lives and big things. Like tonight, I just really wanted to do this episode because it's been something obviously that I've been wanting to do for months now. And even though there are things that have been going on that are like definitely drawbacks to going forward.
You've had some big obstacles lately.
Yeah, it's important to just hit it, to just go for it, do it, and learn from everything that you've given in those experiences. I know you had some things even this week that you told me that you were saying hit it too.
Right. I love that you kind of drew the parallel. I hadn't thought about that before. The 1, 2, 3 up that we used to listen to one side of our family, our great grandma say, and then to think about hit it, which is like the other side of the family, you find that inner mantra that is what you say to yourself to get going. I know I've thought to myself, hit it. And especially as we have considered this episode and what our first real episode would be about for a topic, we said, you know what, we just got to hit it, because this podcast has been something we've been wanting to do and we've been chatting about for months at this point. And yet, for some reason, we decided to do it shortly after you have a baby, or with current dramas in our life, or the pandemic, or whatever the case may be. There could be so many things that you say, okay, as soon as we make it through this chapter, when things are clear, when the water is more still, or when the weather is just right, then I will say hit it. But sometimes you just got to say, you know what? It's 11 p.m. I'm going to hit it and record this episode. My big hit it moment in the past week was I bought back on a lightning sale a projector and screen months and months ago, probably about the same time we decided to do the podcast. I bought it because I thought, oh, we used to grow up doing dive-in movies in the pool and I want to do it. So I bought this and it's just been sitting in my electronics bin in my closet and I haven't wanted to touch it, along with all my other cords and extra electronic things that are sometimes intimidating. But I put it in there thinking I'll get to it one day. Well, now it's September, which, I mean, we can still swim in Arizona in September, so that's fine. But I thought I really have missed this opportunity to do the dive-in movies all summer long at the nights like I wanted to. We had some company visiting and I decided I'm going to hit it and I'm going to set up this projector screen. And it took me hours to figure it out. And here we had company in town, but I was able to still talk while trying to figure it out. It was something that I was really nervous to do. And as much as I love my husband, setting up technology is not his favorite thing to do. And I'm definitely the more tech savvy person between the two of us. Sometimes I don't really love that role because technology is a little intimidating, but the instructions were pretty straightforward. I just had to commit to actually doing it. And I'd been putting it off and putting it off. But you know what? It was time. And I knew our episode for Hit It was coming up. And I thought that's actually kind of the motivation I need. I want to be able to tell people I did this. So thank you, sisters, for listening to this podcast, because y'all are the motivation I needed. Because I was like, I need to have a good example. So I hit it and I put together that projector screen and that projector, and I found a movie and I figured out a way to play it from my laptop, to stream it to the projector, to get it onto the screen, found a place to put the screen up that was viewable from my pool. And the sound was great because I even got it to transmit to our outdoor Bluetooth speaker. I tried a way to make it work and I got it to work. And we watched Boss Baby 2 and it was fantastic. I was so happy. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. That's probably a lot of tech talk, but that was my big hit it for the week. And then smaller hit its, I'll give you a few examples. One was I have light fixtures in my house that have these specialty bulbs. And I hate going into stores. You mentioned that this week. When was the last time you went into a store? I mean, it's hard. We like to do curbside pickup, drive-through pickup, whatever we can do. When you've got young kids, it's such a convenience. So I have these light bulbs that I needed to replace, and I've been dreading doing it because I knew that I have to go in and look at the packaging because I don't know the kind of light bulbs that I need by just ordering them online. I have to look at the base size. I was like, I don't want to do this, but I just loaded all my kids up. We went into the store and I found the right light bulb, which, being in a light bulb aisle, something with like things that are at eye level that kids can grab and they're all glass and fragile. Yeah, that was not my favorite, but I was able to keep them contained, found the right light bulbs, and I left. And I was so grateful that I just did something small, came home, they were the right size, put them in, they worked. I was so excited. I was like, that was something small, just buying light bulbs, but I hit it. So that's one small example. Another small example would just be hemming some clothes. I needed to hem a few items of clothing, including some shorts, and I didn't have the right materials I needed. I wanted to use beige thread, so it matched perfectly with my son's denim shorts, but I didn't have beige. And like I said, it's still summer here in Arizona, even though it's technically fall everywhere else. So we're still wearing our shorts. And I just thought, you know what? I'm not going to go to the store and buy beige thread. I'm just going to use my brown and white, mix them together, and maybe from afar it'll look like beige. So I don't know all the terminology, but my bobbin had the white thread and my main feed had the brown. So they mixed together, and from afar it does look beige, and they're not perfect, but you know what? They're done. I had to just cut the hem a little shorter and they look great. They hit perfect on him now, and he's got a couple more months of use out of them. Maybe even 6 more months. We'll just wear them straight till next summer because it'll stay 75 and sunny here.
Well, that's great. When you told me you had done these hit it things and we could share in that together, I was like, way to go. And it just inspired me to do other things myself. I finally made the hair appointment I needed to make for myself.
Your hair looks so pretty.
Well, right now it's wet, but it's just something that kind of carries over when you hear about somebody else getting the thing done that they've been wanting to. It inspires you to take action as well. So our call to action this week is that we want all of our sisters to join together and go from pin it to hit it. So take something that you have pinned, these beautiful pins that we love and collect, right? And actually hit it, try it, do it. Or that could be just something like we've said. Maybe it's a recipe that you've been wanting to try, or someone you've been meaning to call, or an appointment you've been meaning to make. There are these things that are a little beyond what we want to do, and we just need to motivate ourselves to get there. Some other motivational things that can help us. I have read this book by Emma Isaacs, and it's called Winging It, and I totally recommend it if you want to read something that just inspires you to take action and go for something, even if you're not perfect. And we're not perfect. Nobody is. We're all winging it, honestly. But it's a great book to really inspire you. In it, she quotes a gal named Susie Kazim and says, "Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will." Chilling.
Well, you texted it to me and I texted back chilling because when I read it, wow, read it one more time. I want to hear it.
Yeah. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will.
Going back to the lake analogy and hitting it, how many times have we seen somebody who doesn't even want to try because they're like, I've never tried it before, but like I've tried kneeboarding or I've tried wakeboarding and that wasn't comfortable, so I don't want to try that.
When you see somebody who doesn't give it their all and they just kind of flop intentionally and throw their hands up and are really dramatic, we've seen that. I feel like I've wanted to do that or maybe done it a few times in the past when I just wasn't in the mood to try and already felt like it was beyond me. So yes, to that, like we definitely need to overcome that and don't let the doubt kill the success.
Right.
Let failure do it. No, just kidding.
I feel like failure, that word can scare people off, but failure is a sign of progress a lot of times. And sometimes, yeah, sure, you fail enough times and then you make that decision that this may not be for me. But like you said, your muscles are trained and you have to trust your muscles to tell your body and not just let your mind tell your body you shouldn't do something because your mind's going to try and talk you out of anything uncomfortable.
Totally. If you want something a little more optimistic, there's a great account I like to follow called Upworthy, and they just post really cute things that lift you up. And today they had one that said, my 3-year-old said she wanted to be an astronaut. And I said she had to study hard, go to college, learn a lot of science, and take a physical fitness test. She shrugged and said, that's just 4 things. Sometimes we take these big things and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to do so many things in order to get that done. And we just either analysis paralysis or we just become perfectionists and start researching all these things and feeling like you haven't even begun and you're already behind. And, that perspective, we can see that right in our kids. They're like, that's just 4 things. I can do that. And if we just had that kind of hit it attitude, like, yeah, that might be a big thing now, but I could take it on.
Right. It's just 4 things. So let's recap that call to action this week. I love the idea of go from pin it to hit it. Because I think everybody has some project on their Pinterest board that they've not gone for because it just seems overwhelming. But I love this idea of just picking one thing on your Pinterest board and trying it this week. And if it's not something from your Pinterest board and you just have something literally in your own Pinterest board in your head, it's not an actual Pinterest board, it's just a tickler in the back of your brain.
Or let that on your counter.
Something
How many times do we collect something on our counter that's been like needing to get done?
Right. Pick that one thing that's been a tickler in the back of your brain. I have a feeling you've had something come to you during the listening of this episode that you've been like, I've been putting that off. Whether it's a big thing or a small thing, just do it. Just hit it this week.
Hit it.
Yeah. Hit it. Carly, thank you for sharing that analogy from the lake with everybody. I do want to remind all of our sisters that we hope that you'll join us for episode 3 next week. It's not about you. where we'll dive into the need for looking outside yourself when you really just want to turn inward.
And also, make sure to follow us on social media and share your hit it moments this week. We want to hear back from you.
I think that's a wrap for today. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw.
Hit it.
Hit it.
Let me see if I can play this audio. Did you hear Cruz say hit it? Yeah, Cruz! There he goes.
All right, hit it.
Push against the water. Oh, you were so good. Hit it.
I love that. It's like motivating. You hear that? Most of the time, we need to pick our wedgie.
I know.
Huge thanks to Walter Watson of Walter Hill Studios for recording our custom intro and outro music. We love you, Uncle Walter.